Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Hi guys, welcome to the first in a series, I hope, of videos with me painting the miniatures that were included in the Avalon Hill version of HeroQuest that was released about 5 years ago. I remember seeing the original version of HeroQuest many years ago and thinking it looked pretty cool, but I was a fairly rabid D&D player at the time and I couldn't really justify yet another system. As it is, when it was re-released by Avalon Hill, I took a lot of notice and I ended up buying a copy of it last year. Since then I've been collecting the expansions. The only expansion I'm waiting on right now is the very latest one, the Wizards of Morcar, which has not currently turned up in Australia's Amazon store. When it does, I'll be ordering that. I'm looking forward to it. Apparently it has the female figure for the wizard. I'm basically going through at a pretty great rate and painting these things. The Abominations were the first minis I decided to paint, partly because they start with the letter A. And for these I painted them all at the same time. With all of these initial batch of minis from the basic game system, I've tried to make them as close to the original art works as I could. I've tried to pick colours that match, and I've tried to keep the colour schemes in that same sort of vein. Now, later on I'll be branching out, I think. I've already painted, since I painted these, I've gone on to paint all of the game system minis, and I've actually also painted the Keller's Keep expansion minis as well, which included another 3 of these Abominations. I branched out with the Keller's Keep ones. I've got different colours for their skin, different colours for their loincloths, and different colours for their scales, and I played around with all sorts of different colour options for the starfish that are living on them. I like these critters because they look a lot, to me, like deep ones from Lovecraft. And I'm a huge Lovecraft fan, and I love the Cthulhu mythos aesthetic. And I think they've done a great job with these, making them fishmen. Now, as you can see, I'm doing what I usually do, and I'm painting small details first, and then gradually filling in the rest of it as I go. The colours were pretty much the best approximation I could find in the speed paints for the original artworks. They're not necessarily the colours I would pick otherwise, and you'll see when I show you later on the Keller's Keep minis that I branched out quite a bit from that. Although I did still try and keep with a sort of amphibian, aquatic feel, so that the things would look as though they belong underwater and wouldn't look too out of place. Now, I've noted the choices in paints that I've used, and there's a list of those same paints in the description below, plus some links to the paintbrushes, the game, and the paints themselves, or at least boxes of the paints from Army Painter. If you use those links, they lead to Amazon, and I'll get a small commission. They don't cost you any more buying it that way, but it does help the channel, and that would be really appreciated. While I'm on that, if you could like the video, that really helps with the algorithm. If you want to share it with someone else who you think might like it, that would also be great. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, I've got a lot more coming, especially for HeroQuest at the moment. I'm going to literally go through every HeroQuest expansion I can find and paint the minis. As always, I'm not really doing anything fancy in the background. My ability, I won't call it talent, I don't believe I've got a talent, but my ability to paint has significantly improved since I started, again, only 6 months or so ago. I'm developing much better brush control, which certainly helps with the speed paints because they flow very easily, which means if you make a slight mistake, it can spread quite a long way. And because, of course, they are transparent, you can see the other colour underneath if you paint over it. It's not like regular acrylics where you can paint over a mistake and hide it completely. The speed paints are a lot less forgiving in that sense. I do still prefer them. I think they give a great effect. I think they make the whole job of painting so much easier as far as making the things look realistic, making them look as though they are real physical objects, which, I mean, they are, but, you know, physical objects in the game world, and making them look as though they have volume and shade without the, to me, tedious glazing or highlighting that is required using traditional or more traditional methods. I'm very, very happy with the results with most of these. I think some of them are a bit average perhaps, but for most of the minis I've done for HeroQuest now, I'm very happy with the end result. None of them are perfect, but they never will be, no matter how much practice I get. But they're certainly more than presentable. I recently watched a video produced by Big Lee of Miniature Adventures, which cites the 3-foot rule, and I'm a firm believer in that. Now, you're looking at these minis as I paint them pretty close up, and when I present them later on the carousel, they're also pretty close up. So they look a lot worse at that distance than what they're going to look like when you see them 3 foot or a metre away on your gaming table. And what I'm aiming for and what I'm always after is, are these going to look good on the gaming table? When I stick them out, when we're playing HeroQuest and I stick them on the board and the characters see them, then the players see them, are they going to go, they look pretty cool? Even if they don't articulate that. If they can think that, then my job's done. I mean, that's brilliant. That's the best I can hope for. I want them to look good on a gaming table. You're going to see the imperfections. You're going to see the mistakes. You're going to see the poor technique. You're going to see all of these problems when you look at them close up on a computer screen. It's inevitable. Or on your iPhone or iPad or whatever you're looking at it on. But when you see it on the table, you're far enough away that those imperfections is pretty much disappear unless you really muck it up. And even then, it's still a painted mini. You've still done the best you can, given your level of talent and your level of patience. So it's still something you should be proud of. If you've made something, if you've painted something and it looks great on the table, fantastic. You've won. Because that's, to me, what it's about. Not for everyone. Some people want to join competitions. They want to win a golden demon. They want to win prizes. They want to produce display level minis, and that's great too. If that's their thing, that's fantastic. But it's not mine. And it doesn't have to be yours. You need to find a level where you're comfortable and happy with the results. And once you've found that, you're right. You can always learn more. You can always get better. I'm learning things all the time that help me make improvements on the overall look. The one thing I learned only yesterday was how to actually paint eyes. It's one of those things that I've watched a dozen or more videos on how to paint eyes, but they all came out of a blobby mess that I just couldn't get it right. I was watching a video by Miniac talking about painting fine details, and he talks about, one, the fact that it's easier to paint in a particular direction towards you, in fact, and downwards. That's the easiest way to control your paintbrush. And then if you want to, another tip that he had was, if you want to create something tiny, like an eye, like a pupil, touch it incredibly lightly and then gradually increase the pressure until the eyeball, until the pupil is the right size. And it was just so obvious when you think about it. I tried that yesterday with a door. I was painting with an eye in it and it worked. And I just thought, fantastic. Now I can paint eyes when I need to. Okay, I'm pretty much done. That's the mini I finished with. These are the 3 from Killer's Keep. I'm very, very happy with, using slightly different colour schemes and a slightly different approach. I used a lot of the speed paint markers with these ones, just to save a bit of time. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.